Watched UFC 116. It was a great show. To me, it was one of the UFC shows that really stood out. It wasn't overly stacked like UFC 100 or other UFC cards were in terms of names, though the main event was very big. And unfortunately, Vanderlei Silva wasn't on there, which actually turned out to be a good thing, and I'll explain later on, anyways. Yeah, it just really stood out. I think this last month or so, there's just been some really good shows, whether it's been MMA, because the Strikeforce card before that was pretty cool, UFC with this recent show, and the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, which I watched, which was a really, really good one. So it's just been a real high in terms of shows. Um, it was good to see Stefan Bonner come out with a win. A lot of people who watched the first season of The Ultimate Fighter will know him and were familiar with him. He had a bit of a rough patch, kind of up and down, losing, winning, losing, and then got suspended for steroids, I believe. I may be wrong. Came back, had a bit of an up and down patch, really, and fighting Szynski, I thought Szynski was going to win. It looked like he was going to win, but Bonner just fought like a madman possessed and got the TKO, and it was really nice to see him come away with that. It was really cool. The Chris Lionel Matt Brown fight. Do you know Chris Lionel is a good guy to have on your cards? He may not be the biggest name, but he doesn't have boring fights. He just goes for it. And I was surprised he won by submission. I actually thought he would just punch him out, but that was pretty cool. Um, I can't say this guy's name right. I always say it wrong, but he was in the Ultimate Fighter season 4. The Australian George Sucher. I can't say it right. I'm horrible with Greek surnames. This guy looks like he could be a real contender. I don't know. His last couple of fights, to me, it seems like he's really kind of making a name for himself and he's really standing out. He beat Joe Stevenson, which was a very, very big win, and he beat Kurt Pellegrino. I probably said that wrong. He's beaten Jason Dent. He beat George Roop. He seems to be really coming into his own, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's at least 2 fights away from a title fight himself. Um, I saw Brendan Schwab versus I can't even say this guy's name, the guy from Brock's camp. I wasn't surprised there with Brendan winning with his long arms and a TKO. It was quite a nice little knockout. It's a good kind of thing for him. Um, Now, on to the fight that really got my attention before the main event, and that was the Yoshihiro Akiyama versus Chris Lieben fight. And actually, prior to that, as we all know, it was supposed to be Vanderlei Silva versus Akiyama. And I was really, really excited for that because I'm a big Vanderlei Silva fan. And it was disappointing hearing that he was hurt. And I thought, okay, well, what's going to happen? And then you hear Chris Lieben, who just fought 2 weeks ago at the Ultimate Fighter finale, takes his place and stepped in to fight him. And I was worried because Lieben just had a fight. You don't know what kind of injuries he's had, which he's not going to say publicly. And is his body overtrained? All those factors. And I thought, I really hope Lieben wins or he just makes a hell of a lot of money out of this. But if he manages to pull this off, his stock's going to rise exponentially. And the fight happened, and it was a great fight to watch. Akiyama, with these judo, like he did a couple of judo throws, he didn't do too many. Then it was on the ground, then it was standing up, and they were just going at it and hitting each other. Lieben took some shots from Akiyama. Akiyama took some shots from Lieben. It was going back and forth. And then to see Lieben get the triangle choke at the end of the round 3, which was incredible. I mean, it was a very, very, very good victory for him, and I think this really puts Chris Lieben back up there again. I mean, he beat Aaron Simpson, who was quite highly touted by many people, mostly the internet, and it was good to see him now fight another fighter, Akiyama, 2 weeks after his last fight, and beat him by submission. And it looks like he's going to be fighting Vanderlei Silva when Vanderlei recovers from his injury. Either way, this really has done wonders for Lieben's career. For fans who watched him from the Ultimate Fighter and to this point, he's really matured as a fighter and as a person from the fans' point of view. He's really, really changed a lot, and it's really good to see Lieben turn it around and, just be able to, be successful, and I think that was a really good thing for him. Now, on to the main event, and that was a fight I was nervous for, obviously being a Lesnar fan, and I actually like Carwin too. it was 50-50 on who was going to win. I thought Carwin was going to beat him, and it almost looked like that was going to be the case in the first round when Carwin just knocked him down and started unleashing those big heavy hands, and I thought for sure the fight was going to get stopped. But Lesnar weathered the storm, and I'm really amazed by that. Really amazed. I thought he was going to be finished. And then going right into the second round, it looked like Carwin was tired, or just something was happening there. His hands were going down, and he's like that. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And it was also interesting seeing someone take Carwin into the second round. It's almost like watching those old Vitor Belfort fights when Vitor used to finish guys in the first round, and then he fought Couture, and Couture took him into the second round. I don't know if it's the same kind of thing there, but it just reminded me a lot of that. Anyway, Lesnar goes straight for the takedown and gets him down with no problems, which proved my point, which I said in my last video, that I don't think the size is going to be a problem for Lesnar in taking him down, because when he wrestled in college, he was wrestling guys bigger than he is, and he was beating them. And Lesnar got him down. I thought for sure he was going to just keep him there and hit him. Instead, he just goes for an arm triangle choke and chokes him out and wins. And I have to say, the people who were with me watching that, we all just erupted. And being a wrestling fan too, it was really cool seeing The Rock there, and Steve Austin and Goldberg and Paul Heyman and Jim Ross. It was really, really awesome. And I think Brock, in a way, redeemed himself, because his post-fight speech, kind of dedicating it to his family and his camp and his friends, and kind of showing a more of a softer human side, really, I think, won over some fans for him. In a way, actually, being a wrestling fan, and it was kind of disappointing not to get those crazy man Brock Lesnar antics. But on the other hand, it was good to see a softer side and a more classier side, and shaking Carwin's hand. That was real classy, actually. And I guess now a lot of people are going to say, well, does this make Lesnar the #1 heavyweight? And I would probably say, yeah, it probably does. With the landscape of things, Fedor losing and everything else being up in arms, it looks like Lesnar is going to fight Cain Velasquez. And will he get by Cain? We'll see. I'll probably do a video on that much later on. All in all, it was a really good show. Again, just to reiterate, it was really cool seeing Chris Lieben get that win. And I'm sure, actually, he's probably gained a few more fans than he did coming into it, because of all the factors, fighting 2 weeks out, beating Akiyama on a big pay-per-view with one of the biggest draws on there. I'm sure that really upped his thing. It feels so strange. There was no crazy Brock Lesnar antics. Well, you know what? If Brock can be composed and be the way he is, doesn't mean that, his fans can't. So I guess there's nothing more to it than just to go crazy, because fucking kill me, lion!